What is up, everybody? It's me, Duke Farley, back at it again here on Lost at Sea, and we are talking Ascendance Live Season 3. I'm joined again, back-to-back nights, talking to Jabbar. You can catch our draft. We just did a draft for the third season. It's up on my page in the Facebook group. I do want to do a warning. I've been told to do this more often. We are going to be talking about the episode that just happened. So spoilers, if you haven't watched it, don't watch this video. But that's the warning. So get out now. Jabbar, wow. That's all I can say. I did not see that happening.
Yeah, I was blindsided. I love being blindsided as a viewer. It's amazing.
I want there's a lot to talk about this episode, but I do want to jump right into the meat and bones right at the end there. Adam eliminated first. Uh, what do you think there was anything that let's start off with, do you think there was anything that Adam could have done better so that maybe he didn't get eliminated?
In terms of what we got to see, it didn't
Yeah.
seem like Adam did anything wrong. Maybe the things that he did wrong was how big of a social threat he came off, like when the cameras weren't rolling. But I did not get the vibe that Adam did anything wrong. Maybe he just did not make a good connection with CJ because, woo, CJ was really driving that home.
Right. That's a great point to talk about. CJ really, really took this round and made it his, basically. And there's obviously pros and cons to that real early, obviously round one.
Mhm.
But also he's shown the chops of being able to make something happen quickly. What I feel like your style of play, you probably don't like that this early, right? From
Oh
CJ.
no, don't make waves this early. Um, but I will say, from an entertainment standpoint, how rare is it that we see a third name? Like, it's very just taboo to put to like when you're safe. Like nobody was saying CJ's name. CJ went out of his way to take the initiative to push Adam in front of a moving train. It was crazy. Like we don't get to see that gameplay, and I love it.
Yeah, it was super intense too. He was up in people's grills, like just like really hounding it. Um, and I can't just wrap my head around the fact that typically in these first episodes we see the player like Keaton, the one that's scrambling like visibly, or the person like Connor that's kind of like taking that step back and maybe not connecting as well as the other people up for elimination. Those are usually the people that go home in round
Mhm,
one, round two. Whereas Adam, it seemed like he was more kind of composed and
mhm.
more kind of like in the know, like socially. But it just, I think it's a testament to the players that were at this elimination, kind of look past the messiness of what Keaton was bringing to the table and see Adam maybe as a threat, right?
Yeah. And I mean, so out of curiosity, let's say Adam wasn't on the chopping block. Who would you vote out between the other two options first?
For me, it would have been Keaton just because of the craziness, and I feel like I could probably relate to Connor a little bit more in
Yeah.
his reserve, nature. Um, like in a game, I feel like you don't want that craziness to happen because it could fuck you up. So that's why I would choose Keaton in that scenario.
Yeah. I mean, 100% same, right? Part of me felt bad because it's like part of the reason why he was a target was because he was a veteran. And I know people were like, he already had his chance, which at this point, there's nothing Keem can do about that. So that's kind of yikes. But in terms of just chaotic energy, Keem got to hit the road because that he is bringing next level crazy already.
Before we move on to like where Keaton goes, like from here, I want to talk about some of the people that were at the vote. There was only three names that were like visibly shown to us as an audience, which we've already mentioned before. Erica, not a peep really of her name at all. Billy, Josh, Marcelo, they kind of played it really well. I feel like the red team in general, I feel like outplayed the black team here, right? Because those were the three options were on the black team. They kind of forced their hand. But
Hmm.
the other people not really in danger at all.
Yeah. And like the red team made it pretty clear early on that they were not voting for each other, right? I'm pretty sure that
Yeah,
happened. Yeah. So like they came in there very united in a sense, very similar to how the first round of season two went. And kind of like pushed the target on the back of the black team. And therefore they would have always had to say ultimately and who went home from that team.
right. And then the captains, right? Emily and Madison. Emily said multiple times doesn't want to push a name. She already has a target on her back from being captain and winning. I thought she had a great episode. And then Madison, we see this outburst from Keaton on Madison. I was dead set that Keaton sealed his fate there in that conversation where he's like, "Here, take my power. Don't vote for me." And she just seemed really uncomfortable, but she still goes with Adam here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Emily had an amazing episode. I do think that despite how good of an episode, she's probably gonna still be seen as a threat in the near future, but I think she's okay for now. Madison and Keaton, honestly, it made me uncomfortable. Like the whole exchange of him just running up to her, like, so why are you pushing my name? It's like you didn't even ask me if it was me. Like you're assuming that it was me and like going from there. So the whole situation was just bonkers. I was like, oh my goodness, like how to get yourself voted out in 15 minutes. But I think something that really worked for Keaton, which I mean, it's obvious. Everybody was saying Keaton's going to continue to behave like this and get himself voted out. Let's use this as an opportunity to make a big move. So, in a weird way, Keaton's behavior is actually what saved him at in the end for some of like the more middle ground voters.
Which I don't know about you, but I don't think it's sustainable. I feel like if he continues to play like this, he will get clipped eventually, right?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Unless he locks down like a tight alliance that's like, okay, Keaton, we're doing this. It's done. Like if Keaton continues to feel like he's playing from the bottom and scrambling, I think that people are going to get tired of it and will just vote him out.
Yeah. It wasn't a unanimous vote though, right? We see Josh vote to eliminate Keaton on behalf of Adam. And he says in his vote, you may not be going home now, but I need to prove something. What do you think that he means by that?
Um, I mean, I don't know what he could possibly need to. I don't know. It's weird. Like maybe he wants to prove to himself that like he'll be able to get Keaton out in the future. Maybe it was like one of those snazzy little things, like I can't get you now, but I'll get you later. But like that's the only thing it really could be because it's not like you're not proving loyalty to Adam. He's going home, so like
Right.
I think that it was one of those little quips.
Right. So obviously crazy first vote. I think this is probably the craziest first vote in
Mhm.
Ascendance Live.
Mhm.
They got right into it right off the bat. Uh so we see Adam leave. Nothing really he could have done, it seems like. So hopefully I can connect with Adam soon and we can get that exit interview. I'm sure. What did you think of Adam's exit where he's like just basically fuck everyone
My
who's
jaw
voting?
was my jaw was still on the ground from the vote out, and then when Adams did his speech, I my jaw had literally fell off. Like I was speechless. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It was amazing.
Yes. Definitely too short of a stay in the game for Adam, which sucks. But he is eliminated. Moving forward, I guess, or let's talk about, the challenge.
Mhm.
Nice, interesting challenge between the four squads. It seemed like a very team building kind of thing. Little twist there. If you were the first person to, I guess, set the timer off, you had the opportunity to snag a power. Some people missed it.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yeah. Um, because only two people got it right.
Yes, it's Marcelo. It seems like Marcelo's team was the one that was like pretty much aware of what was going on. And again, CJ really spearheading his like alliance, duo alliance, I guess the Wine Night Reward Alliance for Marcelo to go first and grab that advantage. And then Keaton obviously saw it, and we see him showing everybody throughout the episode. But Ozzy
Oh.
missed it. And then I forgot who else. Ali, I think, was the other one who missed it.
And it's funny when you think about like the type of energy that the people who got it bring versus the people who like didn't get it. Like Ali and Ozzy are very like earnest and like I'm here to compete. Like let's fucking do this, fuck it up, and like I'm sure in that moment they were just thinking, let me start this buzzer so my team can win. Where we have very strategy forward people such as Keaton and Marcelo who I'm not gonna say selfish, but like they don't give a fuck. They want all of the power. Are the people who notice it. So it's a very interesting and complex duality between the personalities and the people who actually got the power. I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. Marcelo gets a swap teams reward. We've seen that multiple times in Ascendance. And then I forgot what Keaton he was showing everybody, but I forgot what it was that he got. Did you catch that?
I also can't
Yeah,
remember.
I'm
It's
not really
still
sure.
live.
It's probably along the same lines as the swap teams or something of the equivalent to that.
Mhm.
But speaking of powers, Jabbar, we get at the top of the episode, we get people searching through bushes. Billy, Rory,
Mhm.
who do you think is going to get it first?
Um, I think it would be. I mean, I can't guess, but like, it would be amazing if neither one of their ass got it, and like somebody random just came up and was like, "Oh shit!" Like, I would love to see Taylor just like minding her own business because she also got a clue up and was like, "Oh, okay, here it is." So I just hope that neither one of them gets it, just for like the comedic relief of it. But I will say, I am enjoying. Like, I feel like this was something that we did not see in season two. Like a lot of like downtime in this regard where people are outside searching for powers. We get Rocky and Billy having like a mutual enemy. Um,
Yeah.
so I actually really enjoyed like those first 10 minutes of just like chaos.
We got to see a lot. We got to see a couple conversations with Rocky, Rocky talking to AJ. And I think we also got to see a lot of AJ having one-on-ones with Connor in the beginning as well as Rocky. Um, And it's always fun to see when the mayhem's happening, the people that aren't voting, like who is actively engaged and, you know, in the mix. And the classic, I guess everybody strategizes in the laundry room every season. And we see Taylor just in the mix with everybody that's voting, and she's just soaking it all in.
As if she has a vote, right? Yeah. Um, which I mean, and this is why I feel like props to Edmund for being able to win live. I think I would very well struggle with a situation like this where it's like, if you are on a winning team, like how do you go looking for powers or do you still try and insulate yourself? Because the game moves so fast and like you still want to get your face and stuff out there so like people don't have an easy reason to vote for you. So I think that Taylor being in the mist is good for her because people are gonna see her face and are gonna be like, okay, we don't want to vote for her. She was around. But like damn, also is that the time where she could have been finding the pendant or something like that. So it's a weird
Yeah.
do I?
It's a weird balancing act.
Mhm.
And but I thought it was very funny. She's just kind of listening in on everything that's happening in that in the laundry room as people are coming in and out.
Mhm.
Um, Anything else off the top of my head or off the top of your head that this episode brought? I mean, a lot of fireworks, of course, but
Mhm.
anything that you can think of that we haven't covered yet?
Um, I wonder. So I want to kind of go back to this idea of the power. So like, you know, I remember in season one where the three storytellers got three completely different powers. And I wonder, like, in situations like this, how is it decided who gets what power? Like, the first team is that person always going to get this power. The second team, like, especially if the powers hold different type of weight or could like affect the game differently. So I'm very intrigued in like that part of like, granted, that's not a game thing, that's a production thing, but that's a very intriguing mechanic of the game.
Yeah, that is a great point. I'm not sure how they do that. I feel like they probably obviously have to have it predetermined what's going where. Um, but something to think about. I know the in the org and in I think the past seasons of live, those storytellers are chosen by the teams, similar to this, where they choose who goes first. But I think this season there was a little bit of a wrinkle where during the first night where they're playing the cards, there were clues on the cards about some sort of timer.
Mhm.
So that's why we saw that Marcella's team was kind of on point with knowing that that was going to be the case.
Mhm.
It seems like the other three teams did not really pick up on that though.
Mhm.
They kind of just
I,
selected. Yeah.
I see.
But in terms of strength of power, I have no idea how they choose that either.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And
But looking back on it, Ozzy and Ali probably watching this episode tonight, probably kicking themselves, right?
yes, I mean, well, it depends. Maybe they win and they didn't need it, but you
Yeah.
know, when it's right there, it's like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
just look a little bit further.
Yeah. Any future Ascendance players, you got to keep your eyes open, right? For everything.
Absolutely.
And it's funny, Ozzy's team, or not Ozzy, I think Ali's team all went to go look at what the timer was. So I feel like everyone had the option there to, to see it at
To see
least.
it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But it is what it is. Jabbar, who do you think? It's early. Who do you think? Well, who do you think's in trouble? Let's take Keaton off the board, but who else
Oh,
do you think's in trouble?
oh my gosh. It sucks for me to say because, like, realistically speaking, very similar Keaton. I don't really know why Connor was on the chopping block. Maybe because he was too quiet. But I feel like just as easy as it was for people to want a reason to vote for Keaton, here, whoever tried to push Connor's name, I think that like it's also going to be just as easy for them to like try and continuously push Connor's name as well. Granted, I do think that Connor will be a little bit harder to get out than Keaton because I do see Connor as like people see Connor as like very useful to their game. But I think that on the wrong team, Connor could be a name that is pushed again.
Yeah. Connor, I remember when we played in Org All Stars, he was kind
Yes,
of that person that his name went out around a lot, but he ended up going like
fairly
pretty
far
like
to the
escaping it.
halfway point. Yeah, yeah.
So
That's wild that you mentioned that because he was the alternative vote the first elimination of
yeah.
All Stars.
But a
And
lot of people thought that they could find him useful. And it's kind of similar to Tony in season one, where he was a person that people threw out as a counter name and then they never went home. You see like Michael go home over Tony. You see I think memes might have went home because of in lieu of Tony.
mhm.
Uh but he voted himself out as well. But yeah, other than that, I mean, who do you think's positioned well right now?
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Real early.
Real fucking early. So I mean, just based off of what I've seen, obviously I'm gonna focus on the people who actually had a vote here. And I have to give it to CJ. I mean, CJ pushed that. He made what he wanted known. He, saved two people. Like he made it pretty clear. I want Keaton and Connor to stay because I think that they can help me progress. And I don't think that his decision is going to be seen as a selfish decision. I think that people are going to gravitate towards him, especially if he's like pretty vocal and honest about what he wants. A lot of people want an ally that's going to, give their opinion about things.
Yeah. I do think, even though it's super visible that this was CJ's move here, and he really drove it home and kind of got the ball moving and got it sealed the deal here. I do want to shed some light on Madison, where she's one of the people that voiced the reasoning behind why she wanted to do Adam, despite, Keaton, we see this argument with them publicly. She says, I think Adam's going to be a threat later down the line, whereas Keaton, we could probably get out pretty early. I thought that was really like great gameplay on her part to kind of look past the whole argument.
And I actually want to throw a dark horse in there of Marcelo. I think that Marcelo just has like the type of style where like he can integrate himself into a lot of conversations. Like he's very sneaky in that regard, where he can just fit in. And I think he did a really good job this episode of like, you know, not doing anything offensive or like just being in the conversations. So I think that he had a pretty solid episode as well.
Yeah. Marcel, a guy that you just kind of wanted to grab a drink with.
Hmm.
But with that being said, a great, first boot episode. Obviously, Adam, hopefully we get an exit interview with him. And we can kind of pick his brain and maybe he'll swear some people out on the podcast and it'll be fun. But gone too soon. And thank you again, Jabbar, for doing the back to back with me here, draft and then coverage, man.
Thank you for having me.